I'm going to show you probably the cheapest and easiest way of improving the performance of your car by cleaning your injectors using diesel purge, which is, I mean, people say about fuel additives and what have you, and you know there might be a snake oil and then they're not that good. From my experience of this stuff, it's absolutely awesome. It never fails to give huge improvements in smoothness of the engine, response, and like I say, performance as well. Basically, it cleans out all the injectors all inside, cleans out your high pressure pump, and the fuel lines at the top end of your fuel system. It's a gorgeously clear liquid. Whether you can see in there, the gunk at the bottom is just from the underneath of the container. Really nice clean liquid, and you won't believe that, you know, the state of the liquid by the end once you've run it through. I'm going to be putting through probably a little bit over a litre on my Volvo D5, but this system can be used for any diesel cars really, and you get real benefits from it. It's very, very simple to put the rig together, because you have to do what you call a closed feed system, because diesel purge really isn't a fuel additive as such. You use it as a standalone. You actually run the car on it, so you run the car on it until the litre and a half has been used up. So you need 2 meters of fuel hose. I always go for the best quality, you know, like a heavy duty fuel hose. They normally have standard fitments. It's 8mm internal diameter or 5/16, I think, if it's imperial. And you know, nice thick walls on it. Some people use, you know, much thinner, like silicon, you know, thin silicon pipes, because of the heat this process generates. Because what it's doing, it's running the diesel purge through the system and then recycling it over and over again. It does generate a lot of heat, so that's why I like to use high pressure, high quality fuel lines. Then in the fuel line, as you can see, I'm just putting in one of these fuel filters. You can pick them up pretty cheaply on eBay. I think it was £10 for 5 of them. They'll have a flow arrow on them, if I can find it somewhere. There we go. You might not be able to catch it with the light. Yeah, you see the arrow there saying the flow is that way. So so you'll have the pipe going into your jar. Then it goes through a filter. Then you have pipe on the other side as well. So the 2 meters I've split into 2 1 meter lengths, and then one of the 1 meter lengths I've split again, kind of like a third and 2/3, and inserted the fuel filter there. And then I've also used additionally spring clamps. These types of spring clamps here, just to finish off the union around there, because the most important thing as well is that you don't draw any air into the fuel system. A high pressure pump is a very delicate bit of equipment, and it doesn't like running out of fuel at all. So be very careful to have really good secure connections which don't draw any air into the system. And then the other solid 1 meter hose, that will go into the jar and basically recycle and return the diesel purge that's been leaked back through the injectors. It'll be easier to see it once you see it actually set up on the car. So we'll go out to the car and I'll show you exactly what you need to do to get this diesel purge set up on your car. Because you're going to be running the car solely on diesel purge and you're disconnecting the fuel feed line, you want to make sure obviously that you take out the fuel pump fuse. So on this we're looking at, I think, fuse 33, that's it, which is just there. There we go, 33 fuel pump. So I'll take that fuse out as well to stop diesel being pumped out with nowhere to go. And then the next thing to do is to hook up the feed and return lines for the diesel purge. On this particular Volvo D5, the return line is there, so I'm going to have to remove this particular clip just here. And so that it's called an Urtica clamp, and if you're very careful you can reuse them, but you're better to have spare clips on hand. You can get spring clips or whatever to put back on afterwards, just in case you mangle it, because they are quite difficult to remove without damaging them. So that's the return line on this car, and the silvery pipe just underneath, that's the feed line. So I've got a hose to remove. See it just down there, you just see the clip just down there where my finger's waggling. On any common rail diesel though, the easiest way to find out which is the feed and return, well, it's kind of a 50-50. So what you do is you just simply find the injectors, and then you trace these are the return lines from the injectors, from on the top of the injectors, and you just trace where that line goes. And as on this, it goes underneath and joins a union just here, so you know automatically that if the injectors are coming back to this pipe here, that's the return line, and then by default the other one's the feed. So I'll get those clamps off, get the pipes off, get the diesel purge hooked up, and get it underway. All I'm doing with this clamp is I've just got it firmly gripped there, and I've just gradually manoeuvred it left and right very carefully, and eventually the little lugs unhook, and then you can just bend the clamp away. Okay, so I've got the clamps off now. Like I say, just unhook it from there, and then they just gradually unravel round. Just take your time. I actually had to take two clamps off on the return here. There was this clamp here, and then there was one a little bit further down, and then all you do after that, get a nice big, wide flat screwdriver, and get it against the rubber pipe. At the same time, trace the pipe back and just hold it there, so as you're pushing with the screwdriver that way, you're stopping the pipe from bending up here, and then you just push the rubber pipe off. So I'll disconnect those, and then it'll be ready to hook up the diesel purge. Okay, so now I've got everything connected up, and the engine's now running on diesel purge, which I've got in a jar down there. So this is the feed line with the fuel filter on it. So it's coming up out of the diesel purge, and it's feeding the high pressure pump there. The diesel purge is then running through the system, coming back out of the top of the injectors, down the return line, and I've intercepted the return line. So any return diesel purge is going back into the jar, and it just keeps getting recycled. And that's the best way to do a diesel purge on your car. You don't really want it going back in the tank, because of course it will then get diluted with regular diesel and it loses its potency. So I'm going to run through probably about 1.5 litres. I've got this here, which is like a 5 litre pack. I've already done a purge on another vehicle, so I'm just on the last stage now of this. Still got plenty left to do more vehicles. So yeah, and you just basically run it. You do fast idles, so 1,000 revs, and maybe hold it at 2,000 revs every now and then, up to 3, maybe 3,500, and you just keep doing it not until the diesel purge is completely gone, but because you don't want to suck air into the system, but till it's certainly down to a very low level, and then turn the engine off. And any unused diesel purge, yeah, you can just stick that back into the tank. So that's it. Very simple process, a little bit fiddly, I'll be honest with you, dependent on the layout. Some cars are easier to disconnect the lines than others, but definitely a worthwhile thing to do, and you will really notice the difference as well. Okay, so that's the diesel purge done now. Turn the engine off, the jar's empty. This is another reason why I like to use a fuel filter, a large fuel filter. Apart from the obvious, it protects the high pressure pump, and what I'll do, I'll show you at the end the state of the fuel filter and the sort of things that it's actually dragged through. But the other reason for using a nice large fuel filter is when the jar's empty, you still get plenty of warning that that things are going to run out, so you can kind of hang around at the throttle pedal and, you know, be doing all your different revs and stuff, and you've got a nice clear window on the fuel filter to see when it's going to run out, so you don't draw any air into the pump. So that's everything done. So all I'll be doing then is disconnecting the return line and putting the return line back onto the onto its metal pipe, disconnecting the feed line just here and putting that back onto its metal pipe, putting the clips back on, securing those, and then of course putting the fuse back in for the fuel pump. And provided I don't lose too much diesel here, so I'll keep the pipe high so the diesel doesn't spill out, I should be able to connect everything back up and no air will enter the high pressure pump, and it'll start first time afterwards. So the diesel purge is finished now, and this is the state of the filter after we're all done. All sorts of bits of debris stuck to the outer part, the outer casing, which obviously didn't then go back into the engine because it would be stopped by the filter gauze just inside. So all I'll do with that is take that filter off, and then of course I've got you know, other filters that I can just then plug back onto that line, ready for the next time I do a diesel purge. And this is the state of the liquid when you remember what the diesel purge looked like at the start. Really nice clear liquid, and these are all the wax, like waxy deposits and what have you, that it's pulled out of the injectors. It really is, you know, quite incredible, the stuff that it can pull out of the system. And but when you think nothing's been done on those injectors for maybe, well, 12 years, over 150,000 miles, so, and the car drives absolutely amazingly now, it really does. So I really recommend you making the effort to stick a litre of diesel purge through using the closed feed system like I've shown you, and hopefully you'll see the benefits yourself. So thanks very much for watching.